April 2nd today. I don't know if we want to introduce ourselves or we will. I'll go ahead and ask for Councilmember Driscoll to go ahead and introduce yourself for the audience who's watching.
Thank you. Gina Driscoll, St. Petersburg City Council.
Tom Reed, City of South Pasadena.
And Deborah Fix Sanders, St. Petersburg City Council. We're gonna go right into this. Do we have any public comment for today's meeting?
I don't have anything.
No public comment. Okay, so now we're gonna move into our action item, which is approval of our March. We now have a motion for the approval of our March 5th. We do have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No opposed, so we will approve the minutes for March 5th. Moving right along, we have an informational item, item 4A, which is a draft April board agenda with Brad Miller. Brad, you ready to present?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
So our meeting is on April 23rd, and at least for now, we're moving along with a number of items that are gonna go to the Finance Committee on 7 days prior, on April 16th. And pending their approval there, they'll come to the PSA board. April 16th at the Finance Committee will be the time in which the Finance Committee reviews the auditing proposals and makes recommendation, makes a recommendation to themselves and to Al on how many firms they wanna bring back for interviews in May, and make a recommendation on a single firm to take to the board then. But on this agenda, we've got hopefully Enterprise. Al saying yes. We are converting, we're going away from purchasing cars, automobiles for our employees, our drivers to get to remote locations and things like that. Which we've done, we bought off the state contract for cars. We're going to lease through Enterprise Rent-A-Car. A number of local governments have done this. The state of Florida has done this. It's a way we think this in the long term will save us money because you can lease the cars. At the end of the 3-year lease, Enterprise will sell the cars and then you get to credit them that money that is generated from the sale of the cars back to offset your next lease. So it long term is a cost saver. And it gets better cars. Our cars are, especially the ones that the drivers use, are ridiculously old and not working. It's a big problem for us, so we need to get these Toyota Camrys, is what Enterprise will give us. So excited about that. We are extending our existing contract with Catalyst, which is our public relations and media contract with Preston Rudy and his firm. That's just a contract extension. Also a contract extension, it's a little risky, but we're extending our contracts with Uber and Lyft and Taxi, a year extension on that agreement while we do an RFP. We've added a provision, Al and the attorneys have worked with Uber and Lyft to add a provision that if the federal government says it's illegal anytime in the next year, then obviously the contract would be ended, and they've agreed to that, they understand. We're completing an executive recruitment. No, we're not. There's a delay. I'll say no. There's like 38 proposals. 38 headhunters have come out of the woodwork for turning proposals. And so the evaluation committee is taking a little bit longer to read 38.
I think so.
I guess. Duke indemnity agreement for Clearwater Transit Center. I've seen that's moving along. And then we're required by the federal government to have a public transportation safety plan, and we have that. And it requires the board chair to sign off on it every year, even if nothing changes in your safety plan. So what this provision that our attorneys have come up with is a blanket approval for this year's safety plan. And then the PSA board would authorize the chair to sign the safety plan each year. Something that we've used for FDOT grants in the past, and kind of modeling that to go up to this new requirement that the feds have for our safety plan. Any major changes that they would come up to our safety plan, we would have a full discussion with the board on that. And then probably our main action item will be just the decisions made this afternoon at our approval or other recommendations our nominating committee makes this afternoon when it meets about a new chair for PSTA, members of the executive committee, and then assignments to the vacancies in the different committees that Dan Saraki, who was on a number of committees, left. So they'll meet there.
You said
There's
decisions coming down today? Is that
the
right?
nominating committee meeting is meeting today. It'll be voted on at the
Right.
April board meeting. Yeah. The current vice chair is Deborah Fig Sanders, the secretary treasurer is Tom Reed, and then the remaining executive committee member is Patty Reed, and Gina Driscoll is the past chair. That is the current executive committee. The Commissioner Reed, Patty Reed, has expressed interest in moving up, moving into secretary treasurer. So has moving into secretary treasurer. Two members, Robert Walker from Dunedin and Brian Scott from Pinellas County, have expressed interest in getting onto the executive committee. So that is at least the officers, that's what will be discussed at the nominating committee this afternoon. And then last but not least on the agenda, I don't know if this is made any progress, but I'm hopeful that Henry Lukasik and Debbie are going to come up with an unbelievably inspiring, convincing presentation, analysis of the benefits that PSTA is enjoying financially by having a diverse fleet of buses. Debbie has thrown out some numbers, I think, to the finance committee about how much money just in diesel fuel we're saving by having our electric buses so far. So it'll be that, but then the cost of the maintenance and just having a new fleet also is a great financial savings. There's a lot of benefits that Henry will do a better job of saying than I will to having modern buses. Regardless of the propulsion type. And I think based on a lot of misinformation, I think that was up in Tallahassee about, and maybe in Washington DC, about electric buses and problems that some transit agencies, but not PSDA, have had. I think it's just good to get this information out there.
They also weren't the same manufacturer. if I'm not
Exactly,
mistaken.
that
It
was-
a
I
different
just remembered
manufacturer.
that, yeah.
So,
That was not clear to the folks at FDOT in Tallahassee, that they thought all buses were bad. And luckily, we didn't have those Proteras. We did not have them.
Glad you were there to clarify that.
So I just think it's good to get that more information out there. That's the board meeting. Prior to that, I don't know if you're able to attend the Friday, April 11th workshop here at PSDA. That will kick off our budget process at that meeting.
You said 9 o'clock?
9 o'clock, 9 to
That's
12.
what I've got it down for.
Councilmember Driscoll. Commissioner Driscoll.
I will be unable to attend as I will be out for a medical reason
Okay. Yeah.
for a couple of weeks, so unfortunately I'll miss that one. Rachel, did you get that?
Yes.
Thanks.
Rachel, I'll have to bug out a little early. I've got a corporate event I'm hosting that afternoon, so.
Oh, nice.
We good, Brett?
We're good,
We're good.
unless there's any questions.
Does
Anything
anyone
else?
have any questions? So this will be a fast meeting, and so Brad actually did cover some of the things that I was gonna talk about in other business. Because I would definitely be remiss if I did not again thank and congratulate Mayor Dan Saraki, who was the current chair up until last week or week before. You know, for what he's done for the executive committee meeting as well as his short stint as far as being chair of the board. So I do wanna thank him, and then again, I was going to remind us about the April 11th budget meeting that we're gonna have here in the auditorium at 9 a.m. that day. But other than that, I don't have any other updates for the executive committee, cause Brad covered pretty much everything, and so not to be repetitive, does anyone have any questions or have any other comments for our other business agenda item?
All good.
Oh, good, sounds good, and just to also update that Commissioner Tom Reed actually submitted for vice chair for
Right.
executive committee as well as myself for chair, so we're hoping all of those recommendations go well, and we'll
That's
see
it.
everybody here for the nominating committee at 1 p.m. today. And with that, we'll officially adjourn. Our next meeting is gonna be May 7th at 10 a.m. here in the auditorium.
Sounds good.
We're
Thank
adjourned.
you.
So I'll see you guys back at 1. Gina, you going to the city hall, USF thing? At city hall today? At 11?
Hey, how you doing, Al?
Me either.